The scene is cut fast in hopes that these things won't register, and you may not care about these lapses in visual logic, or you may say, well, it's just a comic book movie, but your brain recognizes violations of spatial reasoning even if you're not consciously aware of it. So, if you're not at least a little bit bewildered by what you're seeing, then you're just not paying attention. It's weird. If the filmmakers are trying to involve us in a semi-realistic chase, why do they insist on distancing and disorienting us with these conspicuously nonsensical continuity techniques? I think they try to cheat the reversal of direction here by having the SWAT van hit that post and turn, and then they have this shot and this shot, which makes no sense, all twisting the direction of the action around from left to right. So at least it doesn't feel quite so jarring when the truck splashes down, not only pointed in the wrong direction, but actually traveling in the wrong direction. That, however, is nothing compared to what this truck just did. Somehow, it punched the SWAT van right out in front of the police van and the garbage truck without disturbing their trajectories, and then either retracted itself or continued all the way over into the now very short convoys lane, and made a right-hand and or left-hand turn so that the cement barrier is on its left. It feels like it should be going the wrong way in the convoys lane, which is as impossible as any other scenario given what we've just seen, but as it turns out, that's not where it is anyway. You may remember this guy, or maybe not. He only popped up for a couple of seconds. But apparently he's the one who's supposed to be driving this miracle truck. Now, if you do realize that, it's kind of a shame, because it undercuts a pretty terrific reveal of the Joker just a few shots from now. Didn't the SWAT truck and the other two trucks used to be where the semi is now, with the river on the right?
What the hell was that?
One of the things that makes this chase so discombobulating is that it plays hopscotch all over the axis of action, which is basically the old 180-degree axis, but with both parties in constant parallel motion. So every time there's a cut from one side to the other, the direction of the action is reversed. And that's okay, maybe even unavoidable. But when it happens so fast and so often, it can get not only confusing, but all the jumbled up movement can cancel out any sense of momentum. Oh, and now, the real introduction of the Joker. At last, some visual information that relates these strange cutaways to inside the van with what's actually going on in the outside world. Until now, these guys could have been inserted here from some other movie for all we know. But now we know that the SWAT guard has his back to the Joker's truck on the driver's side of the van. In a better executed action sequence, that kind of information would have been clear and consistent from the beginning.
Built for that, right?
He's gonna need something a lot bigger to get through this.
What is that? What is that, a bazooka?
Yes, and poor marksmanship is a feature of just about every gunfight in the movies. The Joker could hit the side of the van with a handgun, but the bazooka, no, he blows up the trunk of the cop car in front of it. Of course, he is the Joker, so maybe he meant to do that, just for laughs. Sick transit expendable. This time we cut to him after he's been hit, but before he's been eliminated.
I didn't sign up for this!
I want to take this opportunity to point out that what we're talking about here is not just dumb little continuity errors like headlights that are out in one shot but back on in another one, or even a car that puts itself back together for a few frames after it's been partially exploded. When the action is whizzing by this fast, those kinds of things don't really make much of an impression. What's more troublesome, as we've seen, are the violations of spatial integrity between elements within the frame or between shots. And then there are just matters of plausibility, like why, if you're being shot at, you wouldn't try to move over into the lane that's farther away from those who are firing at you. But more annoying are stupid little tricks like this one. The Joker sees something up ahead. It's the Batmobile on a head-on collision course. The cutting reinforces that they're headed right for each other. We know this guy can't shut up, but why is he saying look out? And why is the camera zooming toward the Batmobile and craning over it? Yes, the Batmobile was headed straight for the Gotham police van for some reason. At least he got it to move over into the other lane. And now we know that final Phantom police car has given up the chase. Very little of this chase is in the version of the script that Warner Brothers published for Oscar voters, but it does have the Batmobile ramming into the garbage truck, which makes me think that at one point the footage may have been meant to go something like this.
Look out.
At least then this angle makes sense, and we understand which lane Batman's in. And the high-speed traveling crane shot makes sense, anticipating the Batmobile smashing under the garbage truck. So what does all this prove? That The Dark Knight is a lousy movie? No, we've only looked at the first part of one chase sequence. There's a lot more to the movie than just the action. What it proves is that this photorealistic IMAX action picture plays fast and loose, sometimes, with certain narrative filmmaking techniques that help make action understandable. At the very least, when you hear someone say that the action is incoherent or hard to follow, you should now know exactly what they're talking about. Now that's kind of interesting, the way that the collision over on the Joker's side is cut in with this swerve by the Batmobile. I don't know exactly what it means, but it creates a kind of kinetic energy. Okay, one last big blowout. Watch closely. Now that's a pretty cool stunt. The Batmobile jumps over this little car and blocks the bazooka fire just as it's being shot at Harvey's van. The only problem is, where is the van now? It was right there, just a little bit ahead of the car when the Joker fired. It's now someplace up ahead. So far up ahead that it's passing another car. It's times like these when I'm watching a movie that I think, did they just take all the footage that they had and throw it all up in the air and then stick it back together like William S. Burroughs' Cut Up? Are we meant to look at this as abstract motion, like an IMAX Stan Brakhage movie? Or is it, as the filmmakers have said, more concerned with realism, photographing real objects, including actors and miniatures, in real space? We can see how it does what it does. The question is, what's the result? How do these stylistic choices enhance or diminish the impact of the movie? There are lots of ways to make a film, and there are lots of ways to make a mess. For every choice, and there are thousands upon thousands of them that go into the making of a feature, there are advantages and trade-offs. But in the end, all that matters is what's in the movie, and what isn't.